The House Families and Veterans Committee will come to order. Would the clerk please take attendance?
Chair Schmaltz.
Here.
Representatives Wozniak.
Here.
Fox. Johnson.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Pavlo.
Here.
Wolford.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Burns.
Here.
Rangans.
Here.
Song.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have 10 members present, a quorum.
Rep. Johnson moves to excuse absent members without objection, so ordered. Thank you, Mr. Clerk, for that roll call. Representative Wozniak moves to adopt the minutes of the July 29th meeting without objection, so ordered. Our first order of business today is to adopt the H1 substitute on House Bill 4676. Rep. Thompson moves to adopt the H1 substitute. The H1 substitute fixes a reference error in subsection 3G. Please take the vote.
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Schmaltz.
Yes.
Representatives Wozniak.
Yes.
Fox. Johnson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Pavlo.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Rangans.
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Representative Woolford moves to report House Bill 4676 as an H1 substitute. Will the clerk please take the roll?
On the motion to report, Chair Schmaltz.
Yes.
Representatives Wozniak.
Yes.
Fox. Johnson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Pavlo.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Rangans.
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Thank you. The vote is passed, so House Bill 4676 has been reported to the floor with recommendation as an H1 substitute. We have a card to read in here. In support of the bill is Jeremy Murphy, Michigan Developmental Disabilities Council. Rep. Burns moves to report House Bill 4677. Will the clerk please take the vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Schmaltz.
Yes.
Representatives Wozniak.
Yes.
Fox. Johnson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Pavlo.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Rangans.
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And House Bill 4677 is reported to the floor with recommendations. Rep. Pavlov moves to report House Bill 4517. Will the clerk please call the vote? And before that, let's see, do we have a card to read in there? No, let's see. Oh, this was the one before. Yeah, Jeremy Murphy, Michigan Development Disabilities Council, is not in support of the bill. Okay, again, Rep. Pavlov moves to report House Bill 4517. Will the clerk please call the vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Schmaltz.
Yes.
Representatives Wozniak.
Yes.
Fox. Johnson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Pavlo.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Rangans.
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. House Bill 4517 is reported to the floor with recommendation. Our next order of business is to adopt the H1 substitute on House Bill 4518. The H1 substitute provides for a definition of child with special needs. Please take the vote.
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Schmaltz.
Yes.
Representatives Wozniak.
Yes.
Fox. Johnson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Pavlo.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Rangans.
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Rep. Young moves to report House Bill 4518 as an H1 substitute. Will the clerk please call the roll?
On the motion to report, Chair Schmaltz.
Yes.
Representatives Wozniak.
Yes.
Fox. Johnson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Pavlo.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Rangans.
Yes.
Song.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And House Bill 4518 is reported to the floor with recommendation as an H1 substitute. Okay, moving on to our next order of business, we will now call on Representatives Will Bruck, Wortz, and Woolford to hear testimony on House Bills 4067, 4069, and 4368.
Get up close and personal here. Thank you, Chair Schmaltz, for allowing us to come here today to speak on these three bills, 4067, 4068, and 4069. They are similar to a set of bills that passed the House and the Senate overwhelmingly back in 2016 timeframe, but were vetoed by the governor at that time. These particular bills all have to deal with live baby drop boxes. And I do have with me Representative Wortz and Representative Woolford as well, who are the other sponsors of the bill. Just to give a little background on these bills, in 1999, there was safe haven laws that were passed throughout the U.S. The first law was passed, and very quickly, all 50 states adopted safe haven laws, which allow people to drop off newborn babies and not be charged with abandonment when they drop them off at accepted locations, which currently are hospitals and some police stations. But also, since 1999, 4,500 different babies have been dropped off and allowed to be adopted at that point. But also in that same time frame, there's been over 1,600 babies that have been abandoned, of which over 900 have been found deceased. So this is a problem that we are seeking to resolve. Child abandonment is a charge that sometimes comes to a parent that drops off their baby. They call those baby dumpings. And this is for a child that's 12 months or younger. And we see this problem throughout the U.S. As I said, in the last 20 plus years, there's been over 1,600 of these that have been found, and many of them charged, especially those that the babies were deceased. So in the effort to create a layer cake, you might say, of protecting babies and also protecting newborn mothers that do not know what to do with their child, the safe haven baby laws have provided a necessary means and provided a lot of babies. As we said, 4,500 babies have been dropped off and put into a system as opposed to the alternative because of safe haven laws throughout the U.S. As I said, in all the 50 states, 19 states have allowed live baby drop boxes to be installed or to be authorized. And so that's what these bills do. This is no cost to the state. This is a voluntary effort that individuals or organizations can pay for these live baby drop boxes to be installed. We're just asking for the state of Michigan to authorize this to help save those 900 plus babies that have passed in the last 20 years because of being abandoned. It does allow for anonymous drop-offs. It's a safe and proven method for babies. And again, it's part of that layering of protecting the newborn child where there is a mother that cannot or will not or for some other reason, just cannot deal with having that newborn. And this allows that option. So that being said, we do have a number of testifiers today, and I'm going to turn over the floor to Representative Wortz to say a few words as well. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Chair, for having us today. And I'm really looking forward to introducing one of my guests that's here to speak with us today as well in just a little bit. But personally, I just want to share a short story with you. One of my children, my third, turned 20 last week, and I'm always reminded on his birthday. He was the child I was not very happy to be pregnant with. It came at a time when we were financially in crisis. My husband and I, We had 2 other children. I found myself pregnant. I had a 10-month-old and a 3.5-year-old, and I was less than thrilled. Abortion was never something I would have chosen, but I certainly was quite angry with my circumstances. And then at about 16 weeks, I woke up one morning and was bleeding and went to the hospital, and my placenta was tearing away. And my attitude quickly changed, and I asked the Lord to save this baby and to help me to be thankful for him. And as I said last week, he turned 20. And from the time that he was born, he was the child that just lit up a room. He still today, last week at the fair, my husband said it was like he has a little following of young men that follow him around, and people just love Owen. They've always loved him. And as I was thinking about these bills, and this was kind of near and dear to my heart when I came into office and found out that Representative Bruck was going to be introducing these, and asked to sign on with him, because I live close to Indiana, and I see all the time when we go to Fort Wayne and back, there are large signs on the highway that say, "Surrender your baby to a safe haven baby box." And talked with our local Right to Life and said, yeah, it's not legal in Michigan. And so I was excited to be able to sign on to this legislation because, we've made every convenience possible in the state of Michigan if you want to choose to have an abortion. But what are we doing to help a mother who wants to choose to save her baby's life and is yet in a situation where she feels like she can't? And I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to feel like you cannot have a baby, and how's this going to work out? And amazingly, God does go and prepare and provide a way for that to happen. But for some women, I've talked to our local sheriff, in some situations in our county, it could be because of various circumstances within their home. It is not possible. And this is an opportunity for that child to still have a life, and that mother to give that child life.
Thank you, Chair. I would just close, I guess, my portion with saying it's a privilege to be a part of this bill package with both of these representatives. And this gives an opportunity for a mother to have dignity and love for her child. Thank you.
Thank you, representatives, for your testimony here. And Rep. Wortz, we're very glad that Owen is here. And, we have another beautiful child in the world. So thank you all for being here. Do we have questions? Let's go to Rep. Pavlov.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In my district, there's some misinformation. I'm wholly for this baby boxes, and I was the president of Right to Life of St. Clair County for a number of years, but it seems to me that my brother knights, who should be pro-life, are concerned about the maintenance of the baby box, saying that it's almost as expensive to maintain a box as it is to build one attached to a fire station or police station or whatever. Do you have any information for the record that I can share with them that, whatever the cost is, it's worth it, and it's probably not that much to maintain a baby box once it's been established?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. It's about $21,000 to install, buy and install a live baby drop box. I'm not sure on the maintenance costs of those. Within the bill package, within the bills that we're presenting, there is an annual maintenance, I should say, I believe it's every 6 months. I can't remember the maintenance schedule, but they will be maintained and inspected regularly per the legislation we have, and checked to ensure that it's a safe method for the babies to be dropped off. I don't see the live baby drop boxes as a right to life or non-right to life scenario. We've seen this pass in 19 different states that, whether they're Democrat or Republicanly controlled, these have passed. So I do want to kind of point out that exception there, that this is about helping mothers and the babies. But as far as the maintenance, I'm sure you'll be able to ask that question. We have Joe Kelsey will be Zooming in in testimony, and that'd probably be a good question to ask him as far as what is the maintenance
Right.
costs on these.
Right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And how are these boxes funded again?
The boxes are voluntary. Some states have put in grants, but in our bill package, we do not have any grant methods. It's all private funds that are paid for to purchase and to install. And this could be, it could be a township or, you know, a public entity that uses their own funds for it, but there's no requirement within the bills that requires that the state of Michigan or any publicly funded entity pay for it.
And I think that's an important point, too, that it's voluntary.
Yes, it is 100% voluntary. It just allows for, you know, a fire station or a police station or something that is manned 24/7. It has to be manned as well. So there's a lot of stipulations within the bill that, you know, makes it a safe, you know, circumstance.
Thank you, Representative. Rep. Young?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, and thank you all for being here today. Thank you for your testimony and for bringing this forward. Question. So unfortunately, we live in a world where there's human trafficking. And the women who are trafficked, unfortunately, become pregnant. And the abusers can take their own children. And some of these women, they want to keep their kids. How do we protect them in this, where someone could potentially take a child from someone being trafficked and then place them in the baby? And I'm all about making certain our babies are safe and healthy and all of that. But have you all even thought about that? That was just something that was on my mind.
Yes, ma'am. Within the bill, there is a requirement that once a baby is received in one of these live baby drop boxes, that they have to be registered or put on that site. It's a federal site that, it's like a registry that if you're missing a child, you go to this site and it has the approximate birth dates. Like it's an open source listing of found newborns. So that, and I can't remember the exact lingo, but it's in the bill itself, that this is a requirement that they have to be available in this federally visible site of
Okay.
registry.
So that sounds good. So then my second question was going to be real quick was if you got two parents, if one parent wanted the child and had gotten surrendered, are you saying that this information regarding this federal database registry, that's where people should be directed to go to?
Yes, ma'am.
And then how are people going to know about that? Because I didn't know about it until just now.
Well, that's why, I'm sorry, that's why we're putting forth this legislation, so that people can find out.
Because the site currently exists.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Rep. Wozniak?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like the intention of these bills, but they're specifically named newborn safety devices, and it's to protect newborns. Do you have any purpose for unborn children?
I'm not sure I understand the
Well,
question.
there's born and unborn, so you've got a safety box. What would you do with an unborn child?
You mean a dead baby?
You mean a stillborn?
I don't want to call it a dead baby. I want to say an unborn child. Stillborn, that's why I'm using a wide definition. I don't want to use fetus, stillborn, or anything. Is there any consolation for an unborn child?
If you mean stillborn, within the legislation, there's one that's a definition regarding what would an undertaker do if the baby was deceased in the live baby drop box. There is video, etc. You know, so I guess, are you asking if someone was to place a deceased baby into one of these boxes? Is that what you're asking?
Unborn.
Okay, I think, so an unborn child, so a mother is pregnant? Okay, so in that situation, the Safe Haven Baby has a hotline, and so there's a number on the boxes as well, so a mother can call. And in many situations, there's actually more women they've helped find resources locally at a pregnancy center, adoption facilities, and partnering them if they feel they cannot keep their child but want to pursue an option besides just surrendering it. So there is those options available as well.
For newborns, I'm talking about whether or not, and is there a provision in here that would settle in with unborn children? They could be dropped off.
Well,
Say you had a miscarriage. all
Yes,
right?
okay.
And you got the fetus or whatever. I don't want to call it any particular name. But you see this drop box and you drop it off. Is there any provision for you as a person in this bill?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so this bill, Representative, does not require identification of the parent, only that the death is reported to ensure the transparency and the accountability, if that's where you're,
yeah, I think I am. I just want to make sure we're covering all the bases. We're not leaving anybody out.
Yep,
Okay.
100%.
But I like the package. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I think everything is being recorded, and, that's important to know. Let's go to Rep. Burns.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Representative. My question has to do with the requirement for video and audio feed that would monitor the potential newborn safety device. What would happen in the event of perhaps a long-term power outage? If an emergency generator were not available and technology to monitor a potential newborn safety device were not available. Is there a fallback plan, kind of a standard operating procedure, if technology is not available and if there were kind of a longer-term power outage? What would that look like? Because it seems like the monitoring system is technology dependent.
Yeah, it's not specifically addressed in there, like as far as power outages. There is the requirement for, if there is a problem, that there's a notification. If the box is open, there's an alarm that goes off within X amount of seconds. There is a requirement that the interior of the box be see-through material. So someone that is manning that area can actually see if a baby is dropped in that box. So there are some catches within the structure. The idea of losing power completely is not, and I guess I would fall back on that. It has to still be monitored 24/7. And if the video was incapable of being monitored, that there would have to be physical eyes on that. That'd be my interpretation of the law, although I'm not a lawyer. But
Sure. I think some clarification on that may be important. I know there was a case, I believe it was in another country, about a year or so ago, and the power was actually not an issue, but they had an alarm system, and for whatever reason, the alarm system just malfunctioned, and tragically, there was a terrible outcome there. So I think that's something that's important to consider. Whether you have power or not, sometimes there are technological malfunctions, so I wanted to raise that as a point of concern.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I think one thing I would just like to add to that is that in most all emergency response facilities, they have backup generators. Hospitals have backup generators. And so even if the power goes out, you have backup generators that are functioning and running. And obviously that is an extreme worst case scenario. But I would just say in these situations, these boxes are saving lives that would otherwise end in death anyways. And so while that's unfortunate, and we need to make sure that those are protected, but ultimately we're saving lives with these boxes.
Thank you.
Rep. Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for thoughtful legislation. Would you consider a public awareness campaign to coincide with this so that the public actually knows? I mean, we have all this new legislation that goes through a lot of times, and people don't figure it out till it's through the grapevine or years later. This is so important that it maybe could consider that. And DHHS is overseeing it, correct? As much as we're all very concerned about their failures in a lot of areas and being overwhelmed with all their duties, they still hold almost 50% of the state's budget, so maybe they could allocate a tiny piece to that. That's just a thought.
I shared Rep. Johnson in Indiana, there are billboards on all the highways that promote the boxes and that you can turn them at any fire department. So I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I would shy away from, dictating that the state do that, but I believe with the amount of, and you're going to hear from some of the organizations that are willing to ante up and put money toward these things, that you're going to see organizations that are willing to spend money to advertise or to make it aware. When Tennessee passed their law in November of last year, and in February of this year, they had their first live baby drop box utilized. But they also have put some money, someone has put some money into billboards down in Tennessee, because I have seen them going down there to see my boys. I think I would rely on organizations that, want to have passion in this area, but I would have a hard time asking the state to fund it. But
I'm good with charities doing it. That's great. Thanks.
Thank you, Rep. Reingens.
Can you scooch back a little? I'm like in a desert of microphones here. So my question, this has been a law in Michigan for about 2 decades to allow this, and we've had hundreds of babies surrendered. So the change that you're proposing is mostly just to make it like anonymous, is the way I understand it. And maybe I am dumbing it down for dummies like me. But, and you earlier said that there were something like 1,900 babies that were surrendered, 1,600 that were surrendered, and how many died? 900 died. So I hear that you're seeing that as a problem, 600 babies dying. I agree with that. So what kind of interviews did you do with those family members or people who surrendered the babies? Are they helping you guide the desire to change this to make it anonymous? Of the 600 babies that died, did anybody get a hold of the surrendering parents and say, would you have done this in a Dropbox? Like, I'm just looking for the evidence here.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Since the safe haven laws have been passed, it's 4,500 babies have been anonymously dropped off at hospitals and then a few other locations, depending on the state that allows it. Mostly, I believe it's been police stations, but it's been hospitals primarily. And so the safe haven baby laws that have been passed in every state, plus Puerto Rico and D.C. even, allow someone to anonymously give their baby up at the hospital. Mostly it's hospitals only. In that same time, there's been over 1,600 babies that have been found deposited elsewhere, dropped off, baby drops, whether it's dumpsters, trash cans,
Fields.
on the side of the road. And of that 1,600 that they know about, 900 were deceased when they found them. So this allows this anonymous, expanding the safe haven baby law, this anonymous ability to live baby drop boxes, which don't have to be placed, only at a hospital, where that's mostly where in Michigan the safe haven law is only hospitals. But it allows it to be placed at police stations or fire stations, these government buildings that are staffed 24/7. In order to catch, hopefully, some of those 1,600, whether or not there had been a live baby drop box, and that person had it's hard telling. A lot of these mothers have been charged with crimes and felonies and such too. Like, I'm sure if they had an option, they probably would have taken it, but I can't speak, for someone else either.
I'm sorry, I'm confused about, earlier you said there was an online registry where somebody could go look to see if their baby had been dropped without their knowledge. We have children being sex trafficked that are under control of other people. Like, if their trafficker drops the baby, that child that delivered the baby is not going to be able to find the baby online, right? Because they're not.
Police can.
So it's like a miss,
Yeah.
right?
No,
In
there
my
could be a disconnection there. So when a baby is found and it's anonymous, they have to place that baby, like the approximate age, where it was found, et cetera, the data that they have on that child, into this registry that is available for, police to look at. Like, if you potentially said, my child is missing, and you report it to police, they can look on this registry for you, and help you. That's what it's there for.
Well, again, we're getting into different territories where the prosecutors and the police have to be.
Representative, Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure.
Thank you. Again, I don't understand your questioning when the whole basis of this is on a person being able to drop off their baby anonymous. Who is going, let me finish, please. Thank you, with respect. You're asking about us interviewing people who we're setting up something anonymously for them to drop off their baby. So I don't understand that questioning. Ironically, well, I won't say that. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Rep. Song.
I'm concerned about the anonymity, to clarify.
Okay.
Rep. Song.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you guys so much for your testimony, especially you, Representative Wortz. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing with us about your child's story. I think, we should definitely do everything we can to support mothers and babies. And as a fellow mother, I can certainly understand your conflicting views about expanding your family because of financial constraints. I'm very familiar with this package, and I completely understand where you're coming from in terms of, making sure that there is no child abandonment and that we ensure that children are not abused. So my question is, what are we doing to support women to ensure that they can keep their babies and raise them? And I think, we never want to believe that a woman would give up a child, but certainly their circumstances are very different. So it's possible that some of these women may feel that they're not able to be in a financial position to raise their child. So the intent of this legislation is to ensure that no child is abandoned or abused. And what are we doing to ensure that that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think I would say, number one, pregnancy resource centers, which most every county has one. I was a volunteer for a long time in our local pregnancy resource center. We provide options, help, assistance to moms who find themselves pregnant and in situations where sometimes, like me, maybe it's that they want their child, it's just in a very stressful time in their life. Or children, young people. We even saw, when I was a volunteer, we had a mom to be as young as 14, sadly. But she wanted to keep her baby, and she had a family and support system, and so we came alongside and offered assistance to help her to be able to keep her child. I will add, at the time that I went into our local health department when I found myself pregnant with that third baby, that I went in to sign up for WIC, which was a program that actually the Pregnancy Resource Center shared with me that would be helpful. And I was treated very poorly, and so bad that I almost never returned. I got told that my 10-month-old was only in the 5th percentile and that I was malnourishing her. I left in tears. I went, and this was, I was a good mom. My kids were at all their well child appointments, and I went back to our doctor, and I'm in tears, and I'm pregnant, obviously, and so I'm emotional. And he pulled out her report, and he said, "Look at this. She's been tiny since the time she was born. She's steadily growing. She is not malnourished. You are a good mom. Stop believing what they're saying to you." And so I'm frustrated from my standpoint that we have a system in this state that will give every access to a woman to end the life of her child, but will not help to come alongside and save that baby and give her options.
Well, I would have to disagree with that statement. I think that we don't do enough to help women who are struggling to raise their children. You can't say that you're pro-life when it comes to birth, but not support children who are living right now when we are defunding schools.
No, I'm not saying that,
Thank you,
Representative.
Okay. I think, we're here to help protect our children and to save lives. Obviously, there's a lot more that needs to be done to help pregnant women know what resources are out there for them. We have a lot more work to do there, and that's really important, but that's not the issue right now, okay? Thank you. One more thing, okay, before Woolford. Also, I would like to know what fire departments feel about this in our state, and have they been opposed to it? Are they for it? What has been the reaction so far? And Rep. Woolford, if you want to continue your...
I better not.
Okay.
I'd say this comes from constituents, and there's representatives in this room that have also had constituents who are fire chiefs come to them with this request. So this is really out of a request from constituents, and then I found out it was a bill that was passed, one governor ago, in 2016 timeframe that failed because of a veto. And it was very widely bipartisan back then, and every state that has passed it has been very bipartisan. And again, there's a lot of things we can do for children, but this is to help mothers. These bills truly is to give an out, if you will, for mothers that are in that distressful time without getting charged, or when you go to a hospital, yes, it's anonymous, but yet you still physically have to go there, and there is a shame to that, where this is quite a bit different to be able to go, and it's anonymous, it's shielded, etc., where then that mother is not getting charged with some crime, just because of her circumstance. And so we are trying to help the mothers,
Right, and saving a baby's life, too, in the process. Let's go to Rep. Wozniak.
One more question. Thank you, Madam Chair. When a woman or a person drops off a baby, is that baby considered abandoned, and do they give up their parental rights? Say if they regret dropping the baby off, can they come back and say, that's my baby, or have they given that up?
There is a time frame within the bill structure that I believe allows for that. Yes, they are giving up their baby when they do that, but there are some ramifications. There is some language within the bill that gives them some options as well.
Okay, I think that might be a deterrent for some person, that's saying, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. They're on the fence, and then they say, oh, I'm giving up all my rights to my baby. And I don't really think maybe I wanted to do that, and I changed my mind. That's what I'm talking about.
I would say there's many protections under the current law and statute that allows, the whole process of a parent's rights being terminated is very lengthy. So if a mom comes back and says, hey, wait, and obviously we have DNA testing in today's society where, if you can prove and show that you are that child's mother, and there's things, as he said, that can be done, and a process to go through the department to reinstate your rights as a parent.
Yeah, so I understand from Chief Bruck's statement that even though they've put the baby in there, they could come back and say, I still have parental rights within a certain time period.
There's language within the current safe haven law that we have as a state. So this is adding that component of the live baby drop box to our current law, and within our current law there is that lingo that allows that buyer's remorse or seller's remorse, if you will.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we have a lot of people to testify, but we'll have one more question from Rep. Young.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question, did I forget my question? No, my question, we've talked so much, and I appreciate that. I want to save babies. Let's be clear about that. But my question had to do with, have people used is there a way to misuse the box? That's my question. They're at law enforcement places, hospitals, and I don't know. I was trying to Google it really quick to see if there's a way to potentially put something that looks like a baby, but actually an explosive. Or I'm not trying to get crazy, but it's just a question, and I wondered if you all in your research have found anything like that. Because we want to, at the same time, keep law enforcement safe, our hospital workers safe.
There's a lot of obviously I've been in war and I've seen a lot of, pretty shady stuff where they use some really, it's evil what they do. We've seen people put dust, anthrax into letters, I mean, there's so much potential for evil in the world. It's, you couldn't stop everything. So it is under video. It is constantly monitored. I mean,
You hadn't heard about it. You hadn't heard
yeah,
about it.
I've not heard of that.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard that comment from individuals before, as I've been doing this baby Dropbox stuff since last session even, I've heard that, but I have yet to find any evidence of that happening, any sort of, shenanigans. But I'm sure it's not out the realm of somebody, the mind is an evil thing at times, so.
There's more good people than bad in this world. Let's just
Yeah, you're relying on good people.
Yes. Madam Chair, too, and just a reminder for everyone on the committee, this is about a device set up for people to bring a baby that they were most likely going to leave in a field, put in a trash can, a dumpster, but giving them the honor and having the ability to have honor and integrity to save that baby's life. I also find it, because I know I'm new this year, and I know you're not supposed to address individuals, so you, Madam Chair, I'll say I find it very disrespectful that Representative Zong used this as a grandstanding opportunity to talk about something other than saving babies' lives. And for the other representatives that sit on the Democrat side, it was interesting to hear their support and almost, and sometimes, their support for pro-life. So I'm happy to hear that today. I would like to see more of that from their party and with law. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, representatives. We have a lot of people that we want to testify right now, so let's turn it over to Zoom, and we're going to hear from Joe Kelsey, the Senior Project Coordinator at Safe Haven Baby Boxes, to tell us a little bit about the boxes.
Can you hear me?
Can we turn it up a little bit?
Thank you for having me. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, go ahead. Are you there? Joe Kelsey, are you there? Did we?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes. Please continue.
Thank you very much. All the questions by the way, thank you for having me. And I just want to say that I'm actually a Michigan native, so this is an honor to be here. I've been attempting to take notes of all the questions you've asked, and these are all great questions. So I will try to address all of them that I have heard in everybody's comments. Let me start off by saying that our company, we manufacture and distribute the baby boxes or newborn safety devices that go in fire stations and hospitals at safe haven locations in order to allow a mother to safely, anonymously, and legally surrender her baby. Some of the questions that came up, one of them was, if there is a power outage, what happens then? So the baby box has 3 alarms. The first alarm is when the door opens on the outside. The second alarm is when the baby is placed in the medical hospital bassinet. And the third alarm is if the power goes out. So all these alarms are designed to contact your 911 dispatch so that first responders get alerted that the baby box has been activated. So if the power goes out, 911 dispatch will be alerted, and they will notify the location that they need to lock up the baby box because it's not able to be used. But that rarely happens because most locations do have battery or generator backups. So I mentioned 3 alarms. When a mother in crisis walks up to a baby box and opens up the door, 2 seconds after that door is opened, the box is already sending out a signal. Once the baby is placed in the bassinet and the door closes, the bassinet has a sensor in there that activates a 60-second delay alarm. So after the first alarm is going off, The second alarm will be activated after 1 minute. And all these alarms, like I mentioned before, either through a third-party alarm system or the building's internal alarm will contact dispatch so that first responders know right away that a baby's been surrendered. Once the baby is placed in the bassinet and the door is closed, the door is magnetically locked. So somebody cannot come up behind the mother and open the door and take the baby from the outside. The baby can only be retrieved from the door on the inside, where a firefighter will take the baby and give the baby services if needed. And that is easy to do. The firefighter walks up to or first responder walks up to the back of the baby box, opens the door, and pulls out the medical bassinet with the baby in it. Many of the babies that are surrendered still have placenta still attached, umbilical cords. So that's why we implemented having a regular bassinet in the box. The average time for a first responder to retrieve the baby once it's been surrendered is about 2.5 minutes. Some of them have been responded to within 30 seconds. Some of them have been responded to within 4 minutes. Our requirement is that they respond to a baby being placed in 5 minutes or less, so that the baby can be attended to right away. And we require the location also to do testing of the box. So once the box is installed, if a location decides to go with the program and then they pay and the box is delivered and been installed, we require the staff to do testing, and we walk them through how to test the baby box for 7 days straight to make sure that the alarm system is working, the baby box is operating properly, and the location knows how to use the device. And once the baby box goes active, we also require the station to test the baby box once per week. So once a week, a staff member or a first responder will simulate a baby being placed to make sure the baby box works properly. Also, the alarm system that hooks up will ping the baby box once per day to make sure that the alarm connection is still working and that the baby box is turned on every day. As far as maintenance cost goes, part of our program is that there's a recurring annual fee of $600 that the location has to pay. And that not only covers us coming out once a year to certify the baby box, but it also covers ongoing support. So if they're having an issue with the box, like they test it and for some reason it doesn't contact their dispatch right away, they call us and we will take care of the problem within 24 hours. If there's something that we can't help them with over the phone, we will have them take the box out of service and we will go to the location and help them with that. Happens very rarely, but usually if there is an issue with the box, it's only because the alarm system that they have hooked up to it fails to contact dispatch. But that is a rare occasion, and it's always found out during the testing. Let me go to cameras. Somebody mentioned cameras on the box and security. We require that there's no security camera pointed towards the outside of the box. However, we do understand that most government buildings have security systems around the buildings. What we don't want is the person to be captured surrendering the baby in the box, because that totally eliminates the anonymity of it. It can capture somebody walking up to the box or other, or parking next to the box or whatever, but as long as it doesn't capture somebody walking up to the box, that's fine. You can order a baby box with a monitoring camera on the inside so that somebody can view the inside of the box. If the alarm has been activated, they can actually view the inside of the box from their mobile device to make sure, to verify that there is a baby in there. Also, I think somebody asked, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody asked if they're concerned that a baby dies in a box, or they maybe have mentioned that they heard reports of a baby dying in a box. That is untrue. We've had 64 surrenders in our boxes across the country, and with each case, the box operated as it was intended. And we're proud to say we have 64 surrenders, safe surrenders and babies saved in the boxes. What if a mother changes her mind? I think that was also addressed, and that is already in your safe haven law. As far as, let me mention, and I apologize for jumping all over here. I was trying to take notes as fast as possible. Billboard campaigns. So there has been organizations that want to do a billboard campaign. We have a department that handles that. And if somebody wants to pay to advertise for billboards, they can do that. That's something we handle with the person that wants to do that. As far as each location goes, we contract with the location. It is a lease and service agreement that we have with either the fire station or the city. And they agree to do the program themselves. So we're not asking for any funding from the state, although somebody did mention some states do grant funding for it, New Mexico and Indiana, and I believe Arkansas does too. So that's also an option, but we don't ask for any funding from the state. It's all local.
Thank you, Joe. Let's go to one question by Rep. Burns.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Kelsey, for your testimony. So in your testimony, I noticed that you referred to the mother several times, and that language has been used throughout testimony today. But we know that women don't become pregnant on their own. Immaculate conception is not kind of a medically recognized phenomenon nowadays, as far as I'm aware. So is there data, research, evidence around who tends to, place a baby in a safe haven box? What is the role of the father here? Is there research? Is there data on who surrenders? Because I keep hearing the term the mother. But again, we know that women don't get pregnant alone. So can you talk to us about what that looks like, if there is any research on that, and who is anonymity? But at the same time, we keep referring to kind of one person or one group of people. So I'm curious as to what that may look like, if you have information on that.
Right. Well, I think what we should say is probably the parent in crisis who surrenders. And most safe haven laws state that a responsible adult can surrender under the safe haven law. Every baby that is surrendered and I'm referencing Indiana law because that's the law I know the best. In Indiana law, a baby is surrendered is automatically run through a database, and I think somebody else mentioned that as well. And they do check to see if there has been any reports of babies being kidnapped or missing, and they're immediately run through that database to check to make sure that baby is not one of them. And as far as trying to find out who the father is, or I think that's what you're asking, if there is maybe the mother was trying to hide it from the father.
No,
and
Mr. Kelsey, that is not what I'm asking.
No, I think he answered the question. They record
That's not what I'm asking.
who puts the baby in the box. They find out who that is, and then there's also if the woman's looking for her baby, they said they can go and they record what's the baby
Madam
that's
Chair?
put in the boxes, right?
Madam Chair, if I may. Thank you. Yeah, that's not what I'm asking. I'm just asking if there is any research out there on, any data on who may be surrendering and what their kind of role in the life of the baby is. Because throughout testimony today, we've just heard the mother, the mother, the mother. And oftentimes, the onus is always placed on women, almost as if they conceive and as if this happens just out of nowhere alone. And I don't think that's fair. So my question has to do with whether or not there is data and evidence around who is potentially surrendering a baby to a safe haven box. It sounds like no. So I don't want us to go off in another direction, which I think is where we were headed. So
Yeah, let's Rep. Pavlov.
Hi, Joe, I'd like to get your contact information. How do I do that?
I'd be happy to provide it. is everybody on the email stream? I'd be happy to provide
Yeah,
it
Joe,
there.
I'm sure you can get it from him afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Rep. Thompson?
Piggybacking onto my colleague, what she was talking about, the question about is there any data if the people dropping off these infants are men or women? Do you have any data that shows? Let me think about how to ask this. I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to basically say that, Madam Chair, this quickly is turning into a Republican pro-life versus pro-abortion hearing that I take great offense to as well, because the responsibility being put onto the woman is very clear because men don't give birth. So the woman carries the child. As far as fathers' rights or involvement with the father, fathers don't have a say in Michigan if a child is aborted or not. So I don't understand why this conversation consistently keeps having to go to things that have nothing to do with this legislation. So that was my 2 cents.
Thank you very much,
you.
Rep. Thompson. Well said. Rep. Woolford?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, this has been interesting so far today. I found out how babies are born. It's absolutely fantastic. Also, I find it very, very disrespectful because there has been only one immaculate conception, and that was the Lord Jesus Christ, the one who is the Lord and Savior of Christians and Catholics. And so those that are listening to this and will rewatch it, I hope that they remember the mockery on Christianity and those that call on the Lord Jesus Christ to be their Lord and Savior. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Woolford. And yes, I think that was uncalled for, Rep. Burns, just to add my 2 cents to that. Let's move on, please. Thank you, Joe. Next, we're going to hear from Genevieve Marnin, the Legislative Director and Senior Policy Advisor for Right to Life of Michigan.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come before you to support House Bills 4067, 4069, and 4368, the baby box bills. My name is Genevieve Marnin. I'm the Legislative Director and Senior Policy Advisor for Right to Life of Michigan. Right to Life of Michigan was heavily involved in the passage of the Safe Delivery of Newborns law back in the year 2000, and since that law was passed, there have been 374 babies surrendered safely here in the state of Michigan. I'm going to pause because I do want to answer a question that was asked. Of those surrenders, the vast majority of them were done by the mother in the hospital, almost without exception, according to the Department of Health and Human Services when I asked them. There have been occasions where a boyfriend was with the girl when they jointly chose to surrender the child, but the vast majority of the time it's the mom. In addition, Right to Life of Michigan helped amend the birth certificate law a couple of years ago to allow for the names of the mom and the dad to remain anonymous if the baby was born in a hospital and then subsequently surrendered, because the current law says mom's name, dad's name have to be listed on the birth certificate. But we were finding a problem, so we had to amend the law, and so those are now listed as unknown, and the child is listed as a baby Joe, unknown. So that is how the majority of the surrenders currently happen in the state of Michigan. Our current law does allow for a woman to walk into a hospital, a fire department, or a police station and hand over a newborn under 72 hours old. We are the shortest time frame in all of the states. So only brand new newborns. These are ones with the umbilical cord still attached. She can even call 911 from any location, and an ambulance will come to her and pick up the baby. However, that option has never been used in our state's history of 25 years. The law allows for confidentiality. It does not require that she answer any questions, take any material, or provide any data. Thus, it does allow her to remain anonymous. However, expanding the law to allow for baby boxes can provide complete anonymity that does not currently exist under our law, which requires a face-to-face disclosure. There is a 28-day period to reclaim an infant that was surrendered whether that's in a box or whether that's the current law, and that can be exercised by mother or father. They will have to undergo a DNA test to prove. If a baby has been surrendered, even if it's in the hospital face-to-face, they do run it through a missing and exploited child website. That's a federally maintained website to make sure that the child was not kidnapped and then surrendered. These bills will amend the law to allow for a voluntary installation of baby boxes. But in addition to that, these laws will amend our current law and expand our law's notification requirements. And that is because the Michigan Supreme Court in 2018 had a ruling in a case called In Re Baby Boy Doe, where the Supreme Court strongly recommended that our laws be amended to expand notification laws. Because when the law was originally passed, the only notification law was to put it in a local newspaper. Well, that was 25 years ago. We don't really have newspapers very much anymore. Everything's done online, but things were really not online 25 years ago. So these bills in front of you would allow for all surrenders to be placed on a state website. We do have a current Safe Delivery of Newborns website. So each surrender would be posted on the website so that if a father wants to claim the child, maybe he doesn't know, maybe he thinks that's his. Also, we are recommending that the county where the child was surrendered and where the child placing agency is located also post on their websites a child that was surrendered. And that, again, is in keeping with In Re Baby Boy Doe of 2018, the Michigan Supreme Court. A couple of things to note about the bills. First, the law does not mandate any facility actually install a baby box. Secondly, as we've heard, there is no state appropriations for the baby boxes. Each box is funded and maintained with donations or private funds. In most cases, charities raise and donate the funds to a local fire department or police station. Third, the boxes, as we heard, are safe. They're equipped with sensors, et cetera, et cetera. The boxes have proven to be a safe way to give moms an option when facing a horrible circumstance. Again, I want to put a pin in this. Let me think about this for 1 second. Pregnancy lasts 9 months. You've carried that child for 9 months. You've gone through labor, in my case, 38 hours of it, thank you very much. And you've delivered this child. For somebody to take that baby and place it into a box, we are talking about a woman facing a very dire set of circumstances. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants these. Nobody wants a woman to be facing that situation. But by golly, this could be the difference between life and death for the child and an escape hatch for a mom in a very, very dire situation. Now, the modern baby box originated with firefighter and paramedic Monica Kelsey, we just heard from her husband, who herself was an abandoned infant. However, the concept of baby boxes goes as far back as ancient times. For centuries, monasteries and churches received babies who were left on their doorsteps in boxes by women who were in desperate circumstances. Now, unfortunately, as we've also heard, advertising for our current safe delivery of newborns law has not been a priority, and many young men and women are unaware of our law. Thus, we've still had some abandonments in Michigan and throughout the country. In 2014, a baby was found under a tree in a wooded area near White Cloud by a man walking his dog. Good boy, doggy. Fortunately, the baby was found alive and subsequently was adopted. In 2015, however, an abandoned newborn was found dead in a recycling plant in Roseville, and in 2021, a newborn was found dead in a bag in a wooded area in Lincoln Park. Adding baby boxes as an option may have saved these babies, hopefully will save more babies, and importantly, would highlight the safe haven law in general. Baby boxes are not going to be a panacea, but in certain circumstances, they could be the difference. Let me tell you a real quick story, and I know we've got more that are going to testify with personal narratives, but this is a true story of somebody I personally know, a young woman who found herself unexpectedly pregnant by what turned out to be a very manipulative, very coercive, and potentially dangerous individual. As soon as she found out she was pregnant, the father began coercing her to have an abortion. When she refused, he ramped up calls and threats, eventually saying he would destroy her, and these were not idle threats. He had the means and the know-how. I won't go into more detail than that, but let's just say he was a very dangerous man. Out of fear, the woman kept her pregnancy a complete secret. She hid it for 9 months. Her family didn't know, her friends did not know. Now you can imagine, now that you've hidden this pregnancy for 9 months, walking into a fire station or a hospital and handing this baby over, one that you've kept secret for 9 months, only to have to face another person. Here's where a baby box could have been very useful. The baby did not get abandoned and die, FYI. It had a happy ending, but bottom line is these kinds of stories, we can't even imagine the kind of scenarios that some of these women are facing. We don't want this, but the reality is there. Other scenarios exist which make walking into a public building too intimidating for some women. Those who've been abused have extreme fear. You and I may feel that that's irrational, but to her, given her history, her fear is grounded in her experience. Women who've been raped or trafficked. I want to stop for a second and talk about a trafficked woman whose baby was taken by the trafficker. Praise God if he puts it into a baby box and the baby's life is saved, because that's probably not going to happen. A man who's sex trafficking or person who is sex trafficking a woman is likely going to either force her to have an abortion, or if she gives birth, he's going to sell that baby. He or she. I don't want to be sexist. The bottom line is they're not going to put it in a box. And if they do, that saves that baby's life.
Okay, Genevieve, we're going to have to move on.
Real quick. The purpose of the law is not to find out why she is surrendering the child, what her situation is, or how we can help. As noble as those efforts may be, the purpose of the baby box law is to save the life of a child whose mother is so desperate that the child's life is in imminent danger. I urge you to support these bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Genevieve, for your testimony. We want to move on. We have quite a few people. Dr. Charles Veer, retired family practice physician, would like to speak about the need for the bill from a pro-life stand and a medical perspective. Dr. Veer, whenever you're ready.
Real quick, Chair, can I just add a little bit more? Dr. Veer is 99 years young, and he was an OB/GYN in Hillsdale County for a long time. I'm not sure how long. My mother was a nurse and worked with Dr. Veer part-time, and he's also currently the chair of Hillsdale County Right to Life.
Thanks, Jennifer. Just by way of introduction, she's already announced my age, so I can't deny that. But I was a small-town family doc in Hillsdale for 24 years, delivered over 2,000 babies. Jennifer was one of them. That was the best part of my practice. I never lost my wonder at the development of a baby from a single fertilized cell to a newborn. It was always a miracle to me. How could that happen? Each of you possess a wonderful human machine, essentially, with all the parts working together, without your knowledge even. Have you ever thought about how miraculous that is? That you can function the way you do, with the blood and the brains and the muscles and the bones and all working together. It was always a miracle. Now, at my age, the parts are a little bit rusty and work a little slower, but they still work. This legislation, I won't try to go into any details because you've already heard those very well expressed by the experts, the maker of the box, and the people that have the statistics. I'm not going to bore you with statistics. I will caution you on one thing. The baby box is for newborn infants. It's not big enough for teenagers. It's a marvelous alternative for women who are in a crisis situation, choose to continue their pregnancy, have the baby, but don't feel able to support it. But they want to give it up anonymously. And the baby box offers them that opportunity. It's just another option for them in a crisis pregnancy situation. So I encourage you all to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Beer. We're very fortunate to have you here, and I'm sure all the babies in the world that you have delivered are very happy to hear you talk, and very happy that you're here too. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have Catherine Boussard, Executive Director of Salt Life Global, to offer her testimony.
Don't help me too much, they'll think I'm feeble.
Distinguished Chair and members of the committee, it's an honor to be with you today and have an opportunity to speak in support of these bills. My name is Catherine Boussard, and I am the Executive Director and COO of Salt and Lake Global, a faith-based nonprofit that works to promote good governance and protect the life and human dignity of every person, especially the most vulnerable. And today I'm speaking here in my personal capacity. The matter before you today is a matter that should be carefully deliberative, thinking differently about the difference between abandoning a child and surrendering a child. Those terms have very different meanings. There's a huge difference between desperation and a loving option, between something that often tragically results in death and something that can result in a beautiful life. Stories of loving, courageous mothers in impossible circumstances choosing to surrender their babies so they could be raised in a safer environment span millennia, even dating back to a baby named Moses being placed in a basket of reeds and surrendered to an Egyptian princess. Today, there are countless reasons why modern parents might choose to surrender their child, as difficult as that may be. A mother could be facing financial insecurity, homelessness, living in a situation of domestic abuse, or another unsafe living situation. She could be battling her own physical or mental health issues, or facing a host of other challenges that could leave her feeling ill-equipped to care for her newborn child, especially in those first few 72 hours when that child needs absolutely everything. A newly widowed father could find himself positively overwhelmed by the prospect of raising this child that's solely dependent on him, even as he grieves the mother's death. Whatever the reason, the current safe delivery of newborn law does not go far enough in providing parents anonymous, stigma-free options when making the incredibly heart-wrenching and difficult decision to surrender their child. Michigan's safe delivery law does promise confidentiality, but it doesn't offer anonymity. In-person delivery under the current law, and knowing that there's going to be contact face-to-face, difficult questioning of the parent by the emergency service, is something that can frighten and intimidate certain surrendering parents who are often vulnerable themselves. Just the thought of this contact and conversation could deter them from surrendering their child, or may lead them to look for any other option, as we've tragically seen with about 1,600 other babies since this law was enacted. In small towns, a mother in crisis could be afraid of judgment, perceived stigma, or gossip getting back to the people that she knows. And since 2001, when it was first adopted, more than 240 babies have been successfully surrendered under our safe delivery law. But again, tragically, too many have been abandoned and left to die. In 2003, there was a 24-year-old Michigan mother who had twins, and she ended up tragically abandoning those babies in a garbage can after giving birth alone in her grandparents' home. Their tiny dead bodies were actually discovered by the garbage man. These type of tragic deaths are simply unthinkable, and today you have an opportunity to be part of a solution. Baby boxes offer a safe, proven way to surrender a newborn child in a way that is truly anonymous, without any traumatic questioning, stigma, or fear of judgment. With over 300 receptacles in use in over 20 states currently, these boxes have already been proven to provide a safe pathway for dozens of newborns to be placed in loving families. Installed at public buildings that are staffed 24/7, they help meet the vulnerable where they are. Signage helps raise awareness for them, and it helps parents in crisis know that they have real, even loving options and help when they need it most. The changes proposed in these three bills don't detract from the good things that Michigan's safe delivery law already has accomplished, but they expand them. These bills offer mothers caught in unimaginable difficulties, fathers facing desperate situations, one more safe and healthy option to provide for their child and ensure that that child does have a bright and loving future. If this option saves even one more baby from abandonment, then our time here today will be well spent. We certainly need a myriad of options for these families, and this can be one of them. I urge you to support these bills. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, for your testimony. Next, we have Lisa Young, a registered nurse from the Upper Peninsula. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to testify today. My name is Lisa Young. I'm a registered nurse from Sault Ste. Marie with 18 years of RN experience in the emergency department and in the prenatal OB field. In both settings, I have cared for women who concealed their pregnancies from family and friends. They were scared, isolated, and unsure of what to do. Several years ago, a woman that I actually worked with hid her pregnancy for 41 weeks. She finally confided in me that she was overdue with no prenatal care, and I was able to help her get to a downstate hospital to give birth, which she chose because we live in a small town and everyone knows everyone, and everyone knows her family specifically. I helped her in choosing a family in an open adoption plan, and they are both thriving today because she had the courage to ask for help. I met another woman who requested guidance with a closed adoption. She hid her pregnancy from friends and family as well, but because she reached out, I was able to connect her with an adoption agency who walked her through the closed adoption process. In both circumstances, these women reached out for help, but not all women do. Women in Michigan, whether in crisis situation or not, deserve the option to anonymously surrender their infants, protecting both the mom and the baby. Michigan is surrounded by states that already allow and provide this life-saving option to women, and I urge you to support this bill package because every mother and every newborn deserve a safe outcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony, and thank you for traveling all the way here to do that. We appreciate it. Now we'll have Caitlin Crane, president of Wyandotte Rotary Club, and I believe she's on Zoom. Are you there?
In her pregnancy for 41 weeks. She finally confided in me, and I was able to help her get to a downstate hospital.
Caitlin?
Which she chose because
can you hear me? Okay, Caitlin, can you start over, please?
In the privately, she had first to ask for help. I met another woman who requested guidance. She did her pregnancy as well, but because she reached out, I was able to connect her with an adoption agency. In both circumstances,
I'm sorry, we can't understand you. Do you have an echo or?
Especially anonymous. Deserve the option to anonymously surrender their infants, protecting both the mom and the baby. Michigan is surrounded by states that already allow and provide this life-saving option to women. And I urge you to.
Is there an IT person in here? Or no?
Yeah, it's Derek. He's back.
Derek was.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you for
Okay. There was a previous testimony, obviously. Pardon?
If we just heard you ending the last testimony, that's a big flag.
No. I don't think that was a new person.
No, that was the old, that was the, yeah. Take it away.
Yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you not hear us? Just talk. Can you hear us? Go ahead with your testimony, Kaylin, if you can hear us. I love technology.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Sure.
Are you able to hear me?
No, I don't have control over here. Okay, Kaylin, while you figure that out.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Chairwoman Schmaltz and members of the committee for allowing me to speak in support of House Bills 4067, 4069, and 4368 and their implementation in the Wyandotte and surrounding communities. My name is Kaylin Crane. I'm a former city councilwoman in the city of Wyandotte and current co-president of the Wyandotte Rotary, which I've been a part of for 5 years now. I'm a former licensed foster parent as well as an adoptive parent from the Michigan foster care system. Babies having a chance is one of the most important things in my life. A baby getting a second chance completed my family as well as my sisters with my nephew. I became passionate about this device when I discovered it years ago after an infant was found near Wyandotte in Lincoln Park, deceased. I know that was mentioned earlier. I'm proud to be able to provide and assist with private and nonprofit funding and fundraising to help this be a non-dependent on state funds. Our club is made up of local business owners, educators, veterans, first responders, and neighbors who live by the motto of service above self. We tackle challenges big and small, from local parks to scholarships for high school students, because we believe that healthy, thriving communities begin with protecting our most vulnerable. The Wyandotte Rotary would be proud to sponsor Michigan's first baby box. These bills strengthen Michigan's existing newborn safe surrender framework and related statutory references. It helps to remove uncertainty for parents who are seeking to safely surrender infants and clarify reporting and certification responsibilities when a surrendered newborn dies. Together, they remove barriers to a safe surrender and protect the well-being of newborns and the adults who make these harrowing choices. I vision how hard it would be to surrender your child. The baby box will eliminate the contact that is required by law to do so. I believe helping make this anonymous will assist in decreasing infant deaths. I do truly believe that this will
Excuse
save
me,
lives.
Kaylin, we have to go
I've
at
spoken
ease.
to our local fire.
We'll be right back. Okay. The committee will come to order. We have to stop when they start session, and then we can go back on when it's all clear. So that's why we had to go at ease. So, Kaylin, are you still there? Or did we lose her?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you can continue now. Sorry about the interruption.
Oh, no, I apologize. I was having issues myself at first. I'm not sure where we got cut off.
Just start wherever you'd like to.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for having me again. I'm just going to read through this here. I'm a former city councilwoman in the city of Wyandotte and current co-president of the Wyandotte. I'm sorry, am I able to read here?
Yes, go ahead. We do have just a few minutes, though.
Okay, thank you. I am a former licensed foster parent as well as an adoptive parent from the Michigan foster care system, and babies having a second chance is a very important thing in my life. A baby getting a second chance completed my family as well as my sisters with my nephew. I became passionate about this device when I discovered it years ago after an infant was found deceased in Lincoln Park near my community. I'm proud to be able to provide and assist with private and nonprofit funding and fundraising to keep this non-dependent on state funds. Our club is made up of local business owners, educators, veterans, and first responders, and neighbors who live by the motto of service above self. We help with scholarships, parks, things in our community, because we believe healthy, thriving communities begin with protecting our most vulnerable. And the Wyandotte Rotary would be very, very pleased to sponsor Michigan's first baby box. These bills strengthen Michigan's existing newborn safe surrender framework and related statutory references, remove legal uncertainty for parents seeking to safely surrender infants, and clarify reporting and certification responsibilities when a surrendered newborn dies. Together, these remove barriers to safe surrender and protect the well-being of newborns and the adults who make these harrowing choices. I vision how hard it would be to surrender your child. The baby box will eliminate the contact that is required by law to do so. I believe helping to make this anonymous will assist in decreasing infant deaths. I truly do believe that this will save lives. I've spoken with our local fire and police chiefs here in Wyandotte regarding this. Both were very supportive of having this device in our city. I do want to address a question that came up about power outages. Our fire station is equipped with a backup generator, so our fire department baby box would never find itself in a situation without power. I do urge the committee to report House Bill 4067, 4069, and 4368 favorably to the full House, with the goal of protecting newborns and offering a safe, non-punitive option for parents in crisis. I want to thank you all for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Caitlin, and sorry about the interruption, and thank you for being part of the Rotary Club. I know they do great work. Thanks again for joining us. We have some cards to read in. Jan Kellogg is in support of the bill. Oh. She wants to speak? Okay, Jan, go ahead.
Kellogg, and I'm here today representing the Kellogg Family Foundation, which is a local Michigan 501c3 with a passion for families and children. And it's been long a dream of mine to have installed the first baby box in Michigan, and I set aside the funds for this long ago. I'd like to share with you just a testimony of somebody that I know. So Terry was a promising student athlete attending Mercyhurst College on a full volleyball scholarship. She had a bright future. She was talented, disciplined, and determined, but during her college years, she became pregnant. When questioned by others, she insisted she wasn't. Out of fear and denial, she refused to take a pregnancy test and continued to compete in athletics. Then one day, she became very ill and returned to her dorm room. It was there that she gave birth, alone and in silence, to a baby girl. That child lived for 10 precious minutes. before Terry, overcome by fear, shame, and desperation, smothered her and left her in a bag on the shower floor. Terry grew up in a strict Roman Catholic household. The thought of facing her parents, of even saying the word abortion, was unbearable to her. She didn't feel that she had any safe options, and so tragically in that moment, she made a decision that would change and haunt her forever. Terry was charged with homicide, abuse of a corpse, and concealing the death of a child. She served 7 years in prison. Today, she's married and raising 2 children, but the pain of what happened, the guilt, the grief, remains deeply etched in her soul. Because the truth is, Terry was not a monster. She was a frightened young girl, isolated, ashamed, and without hope. If a safe haven baby box had been available, Terry might have had another option, one that could have saved her baby's life and spared her a lifetime of torment. That's why this bill matters. It's not about judgment. It's about compassion. It's about making sure that no young woman has to face such a moment alone without a safe and anonymous way to surrender her child. So let's let Terry's story be the reason we act not with blame, but with empathy and courage.
Thank you very much. That was very important testimony, and I appreciate you coming in. We certainly want to help women and children in these situations, and I appreciate you coming in and telling us that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next, we have one more person who would like to speak, Amy Zagman, Michigan Council for Maternal and Child. Hello.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'll be brief as I provided written comments, and many of the things that we highlighted in our comments have been addressed so far. I just wanted to thank everyone. There's been really valuable comments today. We especially appreciate the dedication of everyone here to protect children, and I can assure you that that includes the members of my organization who are primarily medical care providers caring for pregnant women and children. I just wanted to point out 2 things. We have pretty major concerns about these bills. I think one thing that's been highlighted already is just the current safe delivery of newborns law obviously has human-to-human contact in it. We talked already about the numbers. I think the most up-to-date figure is actually 385 surrenders have happened. Only 7 of those have happened outside hospitals, so obviously there is human-to-human contact there, and the circumstances are somewhat known. I think the concern for us, and you heard this, I believe, by the representative of the box manufacturer, that with placenta intact, that type of thing, in those cases, we're very concerned that laboring may have happened outside of a hospital, and that in addition to the concerns that we all share about the infant, we may have a circumstance where if no one has eyes on the mother, the delivering, after delivery, that certainly we could have complications that will go undetected. So in the current scenario, I think our biggest concern is you put the box on the outside of the safe delivery location, it sort of sends the message that this is the preferred method or the more acceptable method, and we lose the chance that that person may have walked in and had a person-to-person encounter, which has inherent benefits to it. It has benefits to the infant, has benefits to the individual who may be doing the surrendering. I think today we've talked about the fact that they may be predominantly the person who delivered the child, the woman who delivered the baby. So we're very concerned just that there's not enough safeguards in the bill with regard to what we're doing potentially to support that individual understanding, as has been shared today. There's a very difficult circumstances. I think the only last thing I would point out that has not been yet mentioned today is just the safety of the boxes themselves. Obviously, there's been great care and consideration made by the manufacturer of safe haven baby boxes, but the bills don't, they speak to various components, but they don't go into great detail as the representative did about all of the safety features. And there's certainly nothing that if you put this into statute would stop someone from potentially putting in a knockoff box that didn't have some of those safety features. Once they're recognized in statute, there may be additional manufacturers that proliferate and would be on the market, so to speak. So again, I don't want go on when I put things in writing. I just want to encourage us all to harness the energy that we had here today and prevent stigmatizing pregnancy and put our efforts towards policy and appropriations to also be supportive of those individuals. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, and I think the representatives brought these bills forward mainly for women who think they have no other choice, and instead of leaving the baby in a dumpster or in the woods, have a place to put the baby anonymously, and I think that's important. It's all about saving lives. So thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We have some cards to read in. Chief Ron Wiles, Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, opposes the bill. Opposing the bill, Elizabeth Cutter, Michigan Health and Hospital Association. Reagan Reynolds, opposing the bill, Michigan Poverty Law Program. Opposing the bill, Stephanie Johnson, Family Law Section of SMB. Opposing the bill, Johnny Modifies, Michigan Association of Fire Chiefs. Opposing the bill, Matt Sexton, Michigan Sheriff's Association. Also opposing the bill, Heath P. Laurie, Michigan Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence. Thank you for everybody for coming today. Did you have a comment, Rep. Woolford?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to give a quick reminder. This is about an unwanted baby and giving a child a chance to live, and a woman and a man, a couple, the dignity and the honor of making and giving both of them, all of them, a choice. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, representatives, and thank you, everybody who came today to testify. And there being no further business before the committee will now stand adjourned.